Hello everyone! Are you planning to visit Japan? Do you want to get to know the amazing facts about Japan, the Japanese culture, and beautiful places in Japan? Then stick around until the end of this podcast, because you've come to the right place. Hello everyone! We are free conversation lovers. We're so excited today. If you are new to our podcast, we're free conversation lovers. We create tourism related and immigration related podcasts.
And today we have a Japanese guest who's going to join us. But before listening to this podcast, please subscribe right now. Yes, right now. We'll be mad at you if you don't. So please subscribe right now and don't make me mad. Alright, let's get it started. We have a
All
cool
right.
guest today. His name is Saad.
Hello.
Saad, welcome to our podcast. We really appreciate it. Would you introduce yourself, please?
All right. So I come from Japan, a small country. It's it's where I was born. I would say it's like a really cool country to visit, but it's quite very strict. And if you're trying to make a living off of Japan, I would say you would need a lot of patience, respect, and time.
Yes. And would you introduce yourself in Japanese so that the listeners can make sure you're from Japan?
All right, sure.黒大好き、서두, 어, 다 로쿠사토 Japan, 예, 코로바이, JDM Karso, traveling, tourism, and etc. I love cars and everything related to it.
That's pretty good.
And I'm a 14-year-old Japanese kid that is currently living in Mongolia.
That's pretty cool. And let's talk more about Japan. Japan is an island country in East Asia located in Northwest Pacific Ocean. Japan is 11th most populous country in the world. Almost 40 million is the population of Tokyo, the capital of Japan. Tokyo is the capital of Japan. And that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
more that's more than the entire population of Canada. It's pretty
Oh,
awesome and so crowded.
I know that. Wow, that's a cool fact.
Yeah, and Japan consists of 6,852 islands, and each year 1,500 earthquakes happen, and
Yeah,
110 active volcanoes are located in Japan. Japan has the best transportation in the world, and it has good companies like Sony, Canon, Fujitsu, Toyota, and they drive in the left side of the road.
All right. Yeah, let's get started with the amazing facts about Japan. Fact number one, you can take naps on the job. That's amazing. They believe this improves workflow and speed. This also means that you're dedicated to your job and have worked long and hard for your job. Some people even fake it. And that's really amazing. In so many other countries, if your employer catches you sleeping on the job a couple times, you're fired. Like,
yeah.
how often can you take a nap on the job?
Like, well, I'm still in school, but usually when our free time, we usually sleep like for an hour and a half or so like that to continue with our school, and the teachers are really chill with it because, well, they've also done it as well. And I would
Yeah.
say that this is kind of off topic, but I would say the Japanese culture was like really influenced by China, be it like around the Edo era, and Japan is like a really strict. It has a really strict policy per se.
Yeah, and by the way, how long how much how many times now how long do you stay in the school?
Well, when I was in Japan, I was in school for 5 years, and then I came here. So that's about all of primary school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say there's there's like main two religions in Japan. I would say the first one is the Shinto. The second one is Buddhism. Buddhism is like a very common religion, but Japanese people also do it. And Shinto is like it's a Japanese religion, but Buddhism is like it's from the 6th century from China. If you didn't know that.
So these two, these two religions are the main religions in
Yes,
Japan, right?
yes. There's more in Japan, but these are the main two ones
Yeah, we
that I
had
know.
podcasts about India, and India has a lot of, religions
Mm,
and
Yeah.
Hindu, a lot of things, yeah. And also, people are hired to push. This fact is the next fact about Japan. People are hired to
yeah,
push people inside trains. Around
yeah.
57% people in Tokyo use public transportation. So most of the railways operate at more than 100% overcapacity. To tackle this situation, the city, the municipality, they hire people to push, people, inside the train. What do you think about it?
I think it's a very smart move. I would say because there's a lot of world pollution at the moment and how um the pollution is causing a lot of problems for the world and the earth for itself. I think it's a very smart decision because it decreases the amount of gasoline that people use, and it helps more with the earth. I would say,
This is
and I
really
think
cool.
smart
Culture.
decision.
Yeah, more
Yeah,
than more than 50% of people use, public transportation. So that's pretty
yeah.
good. Yeah, and I'm wondering
Once,
how. What?
like when you actually get to Japan, you wouldn't. I would say you would more likely see more bikes and other transports than actual cars and things like that.
Yes, exactly. And I'm wondering how much they get paid to push people inside the trains.
I don't think they get paid. I think it was I think it's just a policy.
So you think these people are just volunteering to do this stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
And
all right.
fact number
So,
three, uh, you can't be fat. You'd be surprised to know that there are hardly any obese people in the country. Is it true?
yes, it's quite very true. While I was in Japan, I've never actually seen anyone who was overweight or had extra fat. I've never encountered any in Japan. And when I
Yeah,
came to Korea, I was very surprised of the amount of people who were like kind of fat here per se, and that kind of shocked me a lot. So I would say in Japan, there's not many. Well, there's rarely any obese or out of shape.
yeah, exactly. And that's actually great because a lot of people suffer from obesity, and obesity itself causes other problems and other disease, and it leads to something horrible, let's say. But
Yeah.
I think that's great that there's hardly obese people in this country. And in fact, Japanese citizens between the age of 40 and 74 are supposed to have their waistlines measured annually. That's pretty interesting. Is it because of is it because of the healthy Japanese meal that that you can't find any obese people in this country?
I wouldn't say it's because of that, but I think it does have something to involve with that. Yes.
Yeah. And how often do people exercise in Japan?
A lot. Most of the population actually. Even if
Yeah.
you're a tired old man in Japan, I would still see people like working out in the gym or trying to lose some weight, and they're all in great shape. but they still
Oh,
try to
that's
move
awesome.
forward. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really starting to, love and fall in love with Japan. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
fact number four, let's say, Japan has more than 4 million vending machines offering anything from soda to sex toys and live crabs. That's awesome because it makes it a lot easier to buy the stuff you need and you don't have to go to the grocery stores very often.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, how are the prices that vending machines affair?
They're actually they're very cheap. They're surprisingly very cheap.
Yeah.
Like every corner you go, you will see a vending machine, and I'm sure if you have any money in your pocket, you can afford something in there.
Yeah, that's great. So I think it's more cost efficient to buy from vending machines than grocery stores.
Yeah, I would say so. And
Yeah,
the grocery stores there are so nice. It's so high tech per se. How do I say this? Like, let's say you're running late to work, right? And you haven't fetched a snack or anything like that. And you go to a local grocery store, and they'll have quick foods, or they'll have cook meals that you can cook yourself, and the ramen there is just delicious.
yes, that's great. And how far away are these vending machines? Like, can you find them in any area you live in Japan?
Yeah, any.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think because of the population, it's really high, and there is not enough, um, supermarkets and stuff like this. So they use a lot vending machines. And now
In
let's.
every school, you'll see at least minimum three amounts of vending machines.
Oh yeah, now I'm thinking about it. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a huge number.
Yeah.
And let's get into the Japan, culture. So can you talk about Japanese culture a little bit, and tell us why it's so popular?
All right. Well, I mean, I think most people know it because of anime and yeah, mainly because of anime. But I would say there's more to the Japanese culture than just anime. There's a lot more. Like there's car culture. There's a lot of cultures, and you have to sit down in a specific way to eat food, and you have like really low tables because when you stand up you don't want to be disrespectful. And I think a fun fact about restaurants in Japan is that you actually have to leave your cup full for them to know that you don't want any more drinks, because when you finish it they'll instantly try to refill it. And that's how Japanese workers see it. So if you're full, then you don't actually finish your drink. You refill it and then you stop drinking it. That's when they know that you're done with the drink.
Yes, and about anime, it's a really big, business for Japan, and it's earning a lot of money with
Yeah.
anime. I don't know, a lot of people, even in this Discord, they watch anime, and there are a lot of, servers they join and talk
Yeah.
about these animes.
All right. So I think the first, okay, I don't really know the first anime and stuff like that, but I do know that it got really popular around the 1900s. And I would say it got a lot of recognitions around the 2000s for it. And let's see. All right, well, from what I know and from what I can tell you, while I was growing up in Japan, I was always surrounded by anime, and in like every cereal box you would get something involved with anime, or something that always has, like in the news you would always see something about anime. And every like street you go, it's always like advertisements for these new animes coming up, or like you can watch this here and watch this now. So I guess it wasn't as popular as before, but I would say that it's starting to get a lot of recognition around this time here.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And why is it rude to tip in Japan?
Please say that again.
Tipping is kind of rude in Japan.
Oh yeah, tipping is. Uh, I never really got into that, but this one time, me and my parents, we went to this Japanese restaurant and we tried to tip them, but then they kind of got mad at us and we were confused because my mom is Japanese and my dad isn't. So my dad just like gave them a tip and then they got really pissed. And then my mom was like, "Oh, you can't really do this. Like it's they think they think it's very rude." I never actually got to the reason why, but my dad got really traumatized because of that.
Yeah, this can really, a good fact for the listeners, and maybe if they want to go one time in Japan, we suggest you don't do this.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I wanted to talk about the celebrations in Japan because it's such a big thing and everyone makes it such a big deal and I love it because it's just so happy and the festivals are amazing.
I wanted to ask you this question. Yeah, what are some of the important festivals in Japan?
All right. Well, the first one, the main one that I know is the New Year celebration. That one, everyone knows it. Everyone loves it. If you say, "Hey, have you seen the New Year's celebration, or are you coming to the New Year's celebration?" Everyone in Japan will be like, "Oh yes, I know it. Oh yes, I'm coming." They can never say no to it. It's just how they were raised and born. The other one, I would say, around spring or around summer, the celebrations of the gods of the land and sea. That's another one.
Yeah, and let me see. Is it different than the New Year celebration in Japan? Is
Yeah,
different than
it's a
China?
lot different. A lot different.
Oh, so it's different, in China and Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, even though they have really saw it in a perspective of Chinese, they've they have their own ways of doing it.
I haven't known that. Yeah. Is it true? This kind of I find it. Is it true in Japan they make many choices by rock, paper, and scissors?
Oh, rock paper scissors.
Yeah, because
Mm,
we heard they make choices like this with.
yeah, yeah. It's because like when they can't make a decision. You know how like some people like flip a coin like heads or tails.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but I think they do it
Yeah.
because I think they just think it's like a simpler way of doing it.
yeah. We're almost finished our podcast. Thank you, Saad, for having with us.
No
And we
problem.
know you are busy and you want to go out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, I think there's just one thing to, yeah, there's just one thing left to say. And, when it comes to immigration, Japan has a strict and conservative approach to immigration. That means it's hard to get Japanese citizenship. So just like Saad explained at the first of the podcast, you can easily, come to Japan and visit this country, but if you want to move to Japan and live here permanently, you will need a lot of patience, time and respect, just like
Oh, that
Saad
is
explained
so
it.
true.
Yeah.
So I actually have this story. So me and my parents, while we were still living in Japan, we were like fully living there, like as citizens. So our cousins from America, they wanted to come visit us. So they came here for a couple of weeks, and then they decided, okay, you know what? We want to live in Japan. And it actually took us a full year
Oh,
with our help, with our help, to actually like fully make them a citizen of Japan. And I think it's a really funny story because we had to get them checked out. We had to like do a lot of things for that. It was really hard. It was really stressful for me as well because I couldn't even focus on my schoolwork because I had to think of that as well. And you can't even stay in Japan while all of this is happening. And I think that's like such a weird thing.
yes, exactly.
And yeah, it's really
Yeah,
hard.
yes, exactly. So, all right. Thanks. Thanks, Saad. Thank you for joining this podcast today. We really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to actually communicate with us and give us this information about Japan. I also want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed it, so please share it with your friends and people
All
you know.
right.
And that's it. So everybody take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Saad. Have a good time.